Hello everyone. My name is Jose Domínguez. First of all, I want to thank Neo4j for hosting this event, for having us here, presenting a bit of what we're doing at Blar. So I'm Jose Domínguez. This is Benjamin Errazuriz. I'm the CEO at Blar, and Benjamin is the CTO. And we are presenting today on how we use graphs on Blar and how we created a graph traversal agent to debug code and understand code. So to get started, what's a bit of the agenda for today? So first of all, we are going to introduce a bit about ourselves, who we are, where we came from, etc. Later, we're going to talk a bit of how we actually structure code in a graph structure and why we do this. Later, how our graph traversal agent works. Finally, how at Blar we think that context is everything, how it's key to really understand code. And finally, Benjamin here is going to show you a small demo of our platform and of our technology. So without further ado, let's get started. So as I said, my name is Jose Domínguez. We come from Chile. I am currently the CEO at Blar.io. I am obsessed with AI, cryptography, and currently with graphs. I'm 26 years old. A bit of my experience, I worked 2 years when I was in college on a startup called Midete. We used to do call intelligence, so we recorded sales calls and tried to extract key data from them. This was way before ChatGPT was a thing. Later, I joined a startup, a very big startup in Chile called Zeppelin. It's a fintech. This is where I met Benjamin, and later we co-founded Blar.io together. So that was roughly a year ago.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Errazuriz. I'm the CTO of Blar, and I'm obsessed with the development process as a whole, clean code, and the best practices. I'm a little bit older. I have 29 years old, and I have 2 years as a full stack engineer in Yom, e-commerce B2B startup from Chile, and I work a year over in Zeppelin with Pepe, and I later co-found Blar.
So to tell you a bit of what is Blar, what is our platform, what do we do, and how does it look like? This is basically it. So it's very similar, I guess, to ChatGPT. The difference is that we have an agent behind it, like under the hood, that can understand your code and help developers truly understand their code repositories. At the left-hand side, we have basically, we call it our inbox. So you can have the different chat that were either created manually or with a trigger. For example, a trigger can be a sentry error or a GitHub pull request. Those are some of the features that we are currently working on. So some of the key features of Blar is, first, of course, you can communicate with our agent. It can help you understand your code database and traverse your code to assist developers on their day-to-day works. For example, for debugging, for optimizing code, finding vulnerabilities, or just a general agent that can basically answer questions. The second key feature is that we have a collaborative environment. The idea being that other developers can also participate in this same chat together with Blar. So we actually see Blar as one coworker more inside of your company that can assist you with various tasks. Hopefully, our idea, our vision to the future is that this coworker, AI coworker, can be as knowledgeable and as useful as a senior like software engineer would be inside your company, one who's been there from the beginning and can assist you in every day-to-day tasks. And finally, at Blar, we believe that context is key. It's the key to really understand code to make all of this happen. So why are we here at a Neo4j conference? Of course, it's to talk about graphs. So a bit of how this works under the hood is that we structure your different code repositories in a graph structure. For example, here you have the apis.py file. Inside the file, you can have different classes and functions. And inside like each class, you may have even like different methods. Each function can call other functions, and that's how we map out the edges. So what we did was actually create an agent that is able to traverse this graph. Imagine, for example, when you're in VS Code and you are seeing a code workflow, and you just start in a single file and control click to the function that's been called from that file. That's a bit of what we're trying to replicate here on Blar, give this agent the ability to traverse the graph, to control click functions and gather as much context as possible in order to assist you with your questions. So one of the powers of having technologies like Neo4j is that in each individual node, we can not only have like the code that comes from GitHub, we can actually also have the different kind of metadata and context that come from different integrations. For example, we could have the Jira ticket that's the one that created this function to understand why this function exists in the first place. Or for example, the last sentry error to understand what's going on or what might be happening inside of the function given an error. Another ability that our agent has is that when it traverses the code, it actually can leave some data behind. We call this data like breadcrumbs. So when he's traversing the code, he can leave breadcrumbs behind. This helps us in order to, when a next agent comes and another person asks a question, he can grab these breadcrumbs and further understand the context and the code that's been working on. So this is a bit of how it looks in Neo4j. This is our open source repository structured in this graph structure. We have different types of node, as you can see, and different types of relationships. Also, we can have many other like features inside each individual node that would help our agent contextualize further the code. But why are we so obsessed with context here at Blar? Why do we actually think that context is everything? Here's a very simple example on how not having context can go actually bad. So imagine you have this simple function, that's the calculate total function. It simply receives a value and it multiplies it by 1.19. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but one day you get an error. A very common error actually, that's that a non-type object cannot be multiplied by a float. So probably the error was that this value, because of some reason, it's none. So now you ask ChatGPT, hey, can you help me fix this function? And ChatGPT, without knowing much context about you, your function, or your enterprise, is going to propose a solution probably that looks something like this. This is just if the value is none, simply return 0. But what's the problem? You may implement this solution. It's going to work. Your code is running just fine. And you are not longer having this warning. But what's the problem is that you actually remember that you are working at an e-commerce platform, that this function is the one that's supposed to calculate the price after tax of your products. So suddenly, by adding these few lines of code, you have lots of products in your platform that are free. And of course, your bosses are not very happy to have free products on an e-commerce platform. So that is why we believe to truly understand code, you need to understand not only the code, but the context surrounding the code. And that's what we're trying to achieve here at Blar using graphs. So without further ado, let's see a bit of how's our platform, how it works. And Benjamin here is going to show you a bit of the demo of our technology. Thank you.
We're going to answer the question after the demo. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to try to be quick to have time to answer the question. So this is our platform. We have 3 use cases, as Jose already said, but you can have endless tasks that you can do with an LLM that has access to your code. The first one is to review pull requests from GitHub. So it gives you a summary with you can use to speed up your process of reviewing your peers' code and finds issues that can be debugging issues, performance issues, or cybersecurity issues that you may miss. We have Sentry errors. If you have an error on production, Sentry is going to give us an alert, and we're going to triage the error and have the agent to try to understand the error and give you a report so you can make a solution faster. And the last use case is ask whatever you want to the agent and run several agents in your code base. So we have 4 agents, one a general agent, a debugger, optimizer, and cybersecurity. And you have all your repository here that you can reference to help the LLM traverse the graph. Because if you ask any question, it's going to be really rough to pinpoint the problem if you don't give him a starting point. So just to show you, I'm going to choose the code base agent that is actually on our own open source repository that we use to create the graph using the code repository. And I'm going to pinpoint it to run.py that have an example of how to use the package. I'm going to select the starting point and ask the LLM explain me the package Blar graph and what it does and give me an overview. So I asked the question, please got demos, nice. So what it's going to do is going to traverse the graph, as Jose already said, and it's going to jump around the functions. And we can actually see what the LLM and the agent sees. Here's the graph, a little bit messy, but if you take only one node, it's a lot more manageable. And this is the main function. And we instantiate a Neo4j manager driver, a class graph constructor that actually takes care of building the graph. And obviously, we want to look inside build graph because this is the main function that creates the graph. So the LLM can click on that and actually sees what the code's really about. And you can see that we have no relationship imports made build by scan directory, and then go to scan directory, and on and on and on until it has the full context to answer our question. So actually, it's over, and I'm going to read only the summary. The Blar graph package is designed to construct and manage graph representations of source code using Neo4j database. I swear, the LLM only has access to our graph and pinpoints perfectly the reason and the objective of the package that it has. So I wanted to also show you a quick, really lighting demo of the open source package, because you can use it yourself and make real cool things too. And we have imported our Blar graph Python package. We call it just like we already saw, build graphs. We give it the path, and it creates the graph. I'm going to run it. Hopefully, we managed to have a graph. And later, I created a small scale example of what our agent does, giving it two tools, very basic tools. One to look for by the nodes by ID, and the other keyword search tool to jump all around the repository looking for function names, classes, or files. So he actually built the graph. Great. It created 210 nodes and 369 edges. This is the graph of our own code repository code base agent. And now we can run the agent that actually has a real similar question that I already did in the platform. Give me an overview of the Blar graph package. It's not that important. I only wanted to show you that you can, with a few lines, you can have it a go, and it's really easy using LangChain and our code base Blar graph package. So there you go. It's jumping around the graph with the nodes. So that's our demo. Hope you enjoy it. We can skip to answer a question, or you already answer it in the chat. I don't know if you want to talk about it in here or something.
Yeah, I answered it in the chat, but basically the question was, what type of breadcrumbs do we save in the future in each node? And the answer is that we actually try to experiment a lot. One of the first key informations that we saved was a brief description of what the agent is actually seeing on each node. So this can help us in the future, hopefully, when the agent has traversed lots of parts of the graph, to actually do a RAG search with embedding this description into a vector database and doing RAG search, for example, to search, I don't know, where's the function that calculates the price after tax or whatever. So I don't know if you have any question, but feel free to reach out. I'll leave my email if someone wants to talk or reach out in the chat. And thank you so much for joining us and having us here. That's a bit of what we're working at Blar, and we're always happy to discuss and talk about graphs and AI and everything. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.